Okay, so back to where I was. We've got Melanie, who's got her last meeting in this triad, but you're going to continue coming to the meetings, obviously. And then we're going to invite, or we've already invited Stacee. We'll do the next three. Say hi, Stacee, to everybody.
Hi, Stacey.
Hello, everyone.
And Stephanie also has been doing an amazing job in keeping us all on point with logistics and making sure our meetings are productive. So thank you, Stephanie. I just have a couple of quick announcements and then I'm going to hand it off to Melanie. So we've got next in-person meeting is October 30th. Steve Nikakiris will be hosting. Thank you again, Steve, for all the times you've hosted, and thank you for being such a gracious host. It really makes a big difference to have a lovely space like yours. And so that's October 30th at CBIZ, 5 Bryant Park at 5 p.m. So mark your calendars. We have a special meeting also at the same location, CBIZ, and that's October 28th. And we have Ayman Alawadi, who is coming in from Saudi Arabia, and he wants to meet up with as many of us in the New York chapter as possible to do networking and talk about anyone interested in doing business in Saudi Arabia and vice versa. So I think that'll be a lot of fun. And then November 14th, I have the pleasure of doing a talk with Manabu, and some of you know him, and Leon, and the three of us are going to talk about scaling your business. And the next meeting like this Zoom meeting will be with Stacee. I believe that's December 8th. Did I get that?
Yes, correct.
Okay, beautiful. That's it. I'm done. Melanie, I'll hand it over to you.
I appreciate it and super psyched for Stacey taking the next turn at doing the trifecta of meetings. I bet those will be interactive and fun, as is Stacey. So very psyched about that. And also thanks to Stephanie for keeping us organized and on time, and Charles for keeping us lively, full of people, and waking the sleeping giant, as you call it. So you've really brought a new energy and critical mass by a lot to this chapter. So kudos all around. Today is the third of three in my series of meetings to run, and I'm going to kick this one off by telling you a little bit about the things that I do outside the Global Chamber and trying to bring some of that to today's elevator pitch party. Joe Apfelbaum and I came up with "The riches are in the pitches" as a tagline. I've got to credit him as the co-creator for that tagline, but I wanted to bring some of what I do in my everyday life to our chapter and see if I could be useful in helping you craft a pitch. So today we're going to do a little bit of introductions. I will do mine out loud, and you guys can also participate in the chat. Then we're gonna do some tips to pitch like a pro. Now, you guys may have a fabulous pitch, so I just invite you today to try some new things. Doesn't mean that my ideas are better or worse than yours, but it means that I may have some new strategies that if you try them on, who knows, maybe you'll find something new to add to your bag of tricks. So we'll talk about what to do and what not to do according to me. Again, instead of me saying "in my humble opinion" over and over again, I'll just say this entire presentation is in my opinion. I won't be as humble since I coach this on a daily basis, but I will say it's, these things are my advice of things to try and things that I believe would make you successful in your pitch and getting what you want as an ask from that pitch. But we'll talk about what to do, what not to do. I'll give you a sample pitch template and some variations, and then we'll try it out. I would love to get some volunteers today, so please, let's make this as interactive as possible so it's not me talking at you, but us having an active conversation. If anybody wants feedback on their pitch, I'm really happy to give that. I love giving feedback, and as I always say, you can take or leave my feedback, but I love giving it in case it's helpful. Then I'll have some time for Q&A, and then I'll have bonus materials. In a longer meeting, would talk about PowerPoint slide deck tips. So what I did is I'll show you some of my slides as an example of some things you could do to make your deck interesting, but I won't do a whole bunch of PowerPoint stuff until if we have time at the end. And I've included those in the materials you can download from today's presentation. So instead of bogging us down with all these PowerPoint tips today, I'll leave them either to the end or for you to download after, depending on, the livelier the conversation, the more I hope we don't even get to that part. All right, so without further ado, let's talk about why I'm doing this. So I'm Melanie Fox. My company is Speech Fox, and my offer as a speech coach, there are three things, and we'll focus on the third today: accent reduction, dialect coaching, and presentation and interview skills. Today, focus on the presentation skills. So why am I showing you a PowerPoint about me? I wanted to just give you the idea that presentations don't need to be so boring. There's this thing called death by PowerPoint. And some people say if you use too much PowerPoint, you have neither power nor a point. And I just wanted to say you could have fun with your deck and make it to the personality that you want to exude. So when I tell people about my history, not only have I coached for 20 years, but I've been in corporate. And the corporate part, a lot had to do with sales and marketing and training teams in sales, marketing, and client services. So that's where a lot of my pitching came to life, not in my linguistics master's background, but in real life, pitching to clients all day long for other companies, not just mine. So as I said, presentation skills is today's focus, and this is all my background. But again, as we're not going to do a gory details on PowerPoint today, you can see that you can bring things to life with visuals, color, and other fun. The thing that I don't always talk about is that everything I own is covered in glitter. I love to wear onesies. If you've met me in person, you may have noticed that. I also love fox apparel. I also love frogs. I don't always have the frogs on me, but I love those too. Here I am acting goofy at my wedding, also covered in glitter, with my equally goofy husband. And something about my history that you may or may not have known, depending when you met me, I overcame a life-threatening illness, and I had to relearn how to walk again and to use half of my face again. And during that period, I covered my walker in glitter and in technology, as you can see, the fun LED lights. Why am I showing you this? Just to say again, you can make your PowerPoint your own. So when you're presenting, whether it's 30 seconds, a minute, 5 minutes, 30 minutes, show yourself. I talk about in my presentations how I started loving languages at the age of 6 because of my friend Ada, whose parents were from Hong Kong. I also talk about how I love languages. And I usually mention that I look 12, but I'm actually 46, so that is out of date a little, but I didn't find a new cake with a 46 on it. So my looks may deceive my amount of experience, but there it is. So that's enough about me. But I just wanted to show, since we're not doing the gory detail on PowerPoint, you can make your presentation fun no matter what length it is and whether or not you're using technology. So let's talk about you guys. So let's do a quick poll. And instead of doing the polling feature, let's just use the chat. So I'd love for you to put all of the numbers that describe you here. So for work, are you the face of your company? If so, put a 1. Add a 2 if you do business development or are involved in sales. 3 if you also do public speaking. Add a 4 if you speak with clients, maybe account management style stuff. 5 if you network. I think everybody here does at least 5. And I don't think anybody here is a 6 since you're here networking. But please put in the chat which of these you do. And if there's anything else about you that you want to add to the chat, like where you're tuning in from or anything else, feel free. Okay, great. We've got a lot of 1 through 5, but some folks have left out 3, which means you don't do a lot of public speaking. And that's very interesting. A lot of you are 1 through 5, but this is great. Thank you so much for sharing. You can still share in the chat. I'm going to look at my next slide, but I appreciate you still sharing. Yeah, a few of you have left out 3, so you may not really pitch that much, which is great for today. And if you pitch, as I said, maybe you can learn some new tricks. So let's talk about communicating clearly through your elevator pitch, also known as your 30 seconds of fame. Could be 60, could be more, but likely the elevator pitch in a big meeting is going to be short. So what should you include in this short pitch? Oh, before we do that, I wanted to actually ask you, oh wait, let me keep moving and then I'll come back to it. When you do your 30-second pitch, although you could do something really fancy and fun, a great thing to do would be start with your name. Even if someone just introduced you, You say your own name so people hear it coming out of your mouth. Pronounce the way you want it to be. If you say your name, even if they just said it or somebody else announced you, it'll reinforce your name. And it just sounds like a really friendly way to start. Then say your business category. What is it that you do? And then here's my favorite part, the success story related to who do you want to meet and a tagline. I love to tell people to work backwards from who do you want to meet to the success story. Meaning, before you even do your pitch, before you write anything down, before you make yourself one note, think from the meeting I'm about to go to, who is it that I think this room could produce that I would like to meet? Think of that first and then come up with a very succinct success story that reinforces that ask. And of course, your name, business category, and tagline may stay the same, but those two pieces are critical and they should align for best results. And again, it's just one way, not the only way to do a pitch, but it's a really surefire way to get your point across and to get that ask reinforced through somebody else who enjoyed your services or who grew from your services. And it makes it easier for someone to introduce you once they've heard that story. This is a New York group, so I like to use a little bit of foul language. I invite everyone to cut the crap. What do I mean by cut the crap? Oh yes, Steve, I can give an example of a story and I will do so. What does cutting the crap mean? In 30 seconds, I've seen people shoot themselves in the foot by doing one or many of these things. So I'll use an example from my BNI group. Some people will start the morning with, "Good morning, BNI Chapter 12. I'm Melanie." And basically what we do is we go in and we sit down and something, 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 and then they end with "thank you." Do you know how much of the 30 seconds you can eat up with nothing? And do you know how many people in the room are also going to say, "Good morning, BNI 12, and thank you," and the phrase, "basically what we do is we something." It's all wasted words and time. And if you only have 30 seconds, don't use them doing these things. If you have 20 minutes, sure. And some people ask, well, is it rude to not say good morning? I think it's almost ruder to be in a room of 30 people with everybody saying good morning over and over and over again. So I would say that it's better to clear out all of the unnecessary words. Less is more. And it is not good to just speed up to fit something that's really 1 minute into 30 seconds. Speed is the enemy here. So cut the crap so you can go slower and make the words count. Also, be heard. Make eye contact. In person, you know what that means. On Zoom, it is the camera. The lens is the eye. If I look at you, I may look like I'm reading or I'm sad or I'm dejected or something. This is Zoom eye contact with the lens. Don't read from a device. If you're in person, this is the kiss of death. If you're doing this to read your name and your business and your category, how do you not know that by now? So don't look at your phone in person. If you need to have a piece of paper that has like an ask on it or very few bullets, maybe I'd recommend maybe an index card so you don't over, I guess, commit to looking at the paper. But it would only be a magic feather, not something that you need. And make your ask unmistakably clear. So after that commercial or pitch, if someone says, "Oh, Melanie, who did you want to meet?" That should not happen. They should say, "Oh, yes, Melanie wants to meet immigration attorneys," or "Melanie wants to meet people who work at banks from around the world." Something like that. It should be easy to remember what I asked for if I structure that commercial right. And if you're in person, don't sit to beat the timer during your tagline. It's important you stand the whole time if you're standing and you don't sit to beat the clock. And if you're on Zoom, you'd be surprised how many people hit the mute button as they're finishing because they're so ready to be done. So make sure you finish and then mute. And again, if you're standing, keep standing until you're finished. Don't sit during your last couple words to beat the clock. Better to get the hook or the gong while you're still going than to cut yourself off. So what's a good litmus test? Would a member or guest in that room, especially someone who doesn't know you, recall what you do, remember who you want to meet, and maybe be able to repeat that success story I shared in some form to the people that I want to be introduced to? That would be a great result. And yes, I want to just say to Steve, I'm going to go back and give you an example of all of these things. But first, I want to talk about the tagline because it's part of this piece. So I would love for everyone to type your go-to tagline in the chat. If you say, I don't really have a tagline, then right, don't have one. But I'd love for everybody to put, what do you usually use when you finish your pitch? Do you repeat your name and business category? Do you have something catchy? Does your company have one that they gave you? So I'd love to, and yes, Steve, I know you say it's hard to give a story as part of a 30-second pitch, so I'll give you an example in a moment, but I'm going to include the tagline in the 30 seconds too, so I'll give you the whole thing. So, oh, thank you, Steve. And I have to say, I'm going to shout Steve out, Steve Nikokiris, as Mr. Congeniality. Steve has the most welcoming attitude, the warmest smile, and beautiful teeth, by the way. So, Steve Nikokiros, if I were giving a prize for consistently kind and welcoming member, I think you would take the cake. So, hopefully, everybody thanks Steve for being such a great host when we're in person and on Zoom too, always participating. So, please, if everybody would take a moment, type what you use as your tagline in the chat. And again, if you don't have one, type, I don't have one. If you have one you don't like, feel free to share it. I don't like it, but this is what I use. Okay, so I see Charles says, enabling buying in a world of selling. Nice. Stephanie says, if you need some marketing and event spark, call Stephanie to hit the mark. It rhymes. The Mandeville method, because free beer at ping pong tables don't solve people problems. Love it, although I do love ping pong. Ensuring business growth in Ghana. And CBiz, we out-local the nationals and out-national the locals. That's great. Okay, so thank you all for sharing. And again, feel free for other folks to type whether you have one or don't. So here is my thought on what would be great in a tagline if you don't have one or if you want to challenge yourself to try a new one. I would include something about your industry or offering. Some mention of either your name or your company's name, so it's tied to you somehow. And if someone remembers it, they could probably Google you or go to your website or find you on LinkedIn. Something catchy. Could be a rhyme, something ironic, something that is memorable, but something to be like an earworm that I remember. And again, don't sit or fade out while you're telling your tagline to the world. Okay, so I love this this note. It should be a tagline, not a tag paragraph. No one's going to be able to repeat it if it's too long. It should be specific and relevant. Some people will say something that's so generic it doesn't make me think of what you do. And it should be memorable and repeatable. So this is the don't. Don't ask for intros in either the tagline or in the commercial to anyone or everyone. If you say, well, I could help everyone, I'm industry agnostic. Yeah, it may be true, but it doesn't help people in the room think of who might be a good intro. So if I think of all the people I know and you say everyone's a good intro, I don't think of anyone in particular to make the intro to. So if you ask for someone specific in that pitch as your ask, it doesn't mean that's the only person in life I will introduce you to, but it means that I may actually have an idea of someone that's a good lead and give you that intro. But if it's so vague that no one is excluded, I probably won't cough up that lead because I'm not thinking of anyone in particular. So if you said, hey, I am a dentist and I want to meet anyone with or without teeth, that eliminates no one, adds no one in particular, and it's funny, but it won't make me think of anyone to actually introduce you to. So if, and I know a dentist who's fabulous, who says that sometimes, but if he would just tell me where the person should live, maybe something they've complained about, maybe a type of business that refers him, that would be a lot more helpful than making a joke about anybody could be his client or patient. I wouldn't describe what you don't do. Some people say, we don't just X. Well, it reminds me of Office Space. So what would you say you do here? Not what you don't do, what do you do? Don't promise to make people's dreams come true. I don't know what your dreams are. I'm not promising to fulfill them. Don't require mind reading. This is the one that happens the most. So a lot of times when people do their pitch, they'll say something like, and I'm going to make something up so that I hopefully offend no one. I'm a flower therapist. So I want to meet people who want flower therapy. Well, I don't know who wants flower therapy. I know a lot of people say, I want to meet people who want to go green. I have family, close friends, business colleagues. I don't know who wants to go green. No one's confided in me about that or mentioned it during any kind of gathering. So if you tell me something that I can put into LinkedIn, like their industry, their title, maybe there's even something personal demographic wise that I know about them, maybe where they live, or anything that is a factual piece of information, that will help me introduce you, but not asking me what people who want something or people who need something. I don't know who wants and needs these various things. I just know what is factual about people in my network. So that's my note there and my recommendation. So litmus test. Would a member or guest in that meeting remember your name, find you likable and trustable, maybe refer you if they met your target client, and be able to recite your tagline? So that's my introduction to what would be good. And Steve, I will get to testing this out momentarily. But first, I want to take the pulse in the room. Okay. Fun with slides. Maybe I'm just having fun with my own slides, but hopefully you would. Okay, so when you think of pitching in front of a room, let's call it a big room of 50, a nice size room, which is most like you? So please put a number in the chat. Put a 1 if you feel like you are perfect and there's nothing you would change about your pitch. Put 2 if you are comfortable and you feel like I do a good job. It doesn't make me that nervous, but maybe I can improve. 3 if you're okay, do it because you have to. And 4, the barf emoji. It makes you want to vomit. Hopefully you don't actually do it, but the thought of puking is still viable or at least looming around. So let's see, we've got a lot of 2s. I would give myself a 2, so I'm going to put a 2. So far, no barfers, but I feel like you might be in the room somewhere. Okay, a lot of 2s, and I think this room makes sense because we tend to get together and network a lot. So all right, this is great. Please keep putting in your votes on which is most like you. It's great to see some diversity here. All right, so one more ask and then we'll get to some pitching. Which one of these describes you best? Do you formally network and pitch often? Put a 1. And you know your pitch cold is part of the 1. 2, often you pitch, but you're not so comfortable because maybe you gave a 3 or 4 on the other answer. 3, you don't pitch often, but your pitch is pretty solid anyway. Or 4, you don't really pitch often, and that's probably because you're not so comfortable or don't have the occasion to do so. So I would probably give myself a 1 here because I do it a lot. But again, it's interesting to see how often people are pitching because not everybody's in biz dev in this room. Okay, we got a lot of 1s, 2s, 3s. Thank you for sharing. It just makes me a little bit more have my finger on the pulse of what's in the room for your networking frequency. Okay, so here's something. I'm going to give this to you in the chat as well. This is my recommended pitch template. And yes, I have variations to it, but this is an idea of what could make a solid pitch. And it looks a little bit gorier because I have some pro tips in there, but it's a really basic structure. And I always say to my clients, the structure will set you free. It might seem confining because I'm giving you a template, but you can really make this your own and rely that if the structure is there, you could come to a networking meeting, decide who you want to meet, and very quickly structure this from your brain to reality and get that in 30 seconds. I wrote here 30 or 60-second template because if you have 30 seconds, it just needs to be shorter. The same structure will work for 60 seconds. So I'm going to put in the chat. Let's see if it will let me drag something in here. Okay. Hold on. I'm going to stop my share for a moment and drag in a document into the chat. Let's see if this goes flawlessly. We shall see. Here is a pitch template. Will it work? Dun, dun, dun. Looks like it's working. Okay, so see if you can download that. This is my one of my gifts to you today. And this is, and I'll share my screen for the pitch template as well. Let's see if I can get that on the screen. Here we go. Okay, so here is my 30 or 60-second pitch template. And this is where I'm going to answer Steve Nico Kiris's question. So if you say your name and title or your company name, this could be name, title, company or any of these three, and then a quick detail about what you do, then a problem that a client had, what solution you provided, and what result that had, and then the related ask. This should be all you need to do. So I'm going to keep myself real. I purposely did not practice this for this meeting because I do many pitches and I thought, well, if I go over, let it happen. So I'm gonna, let's put my timer on for a moment, and I'm gonna give myself 30 seconds, and I'm gonna do one pitch that I do every now and then. And I'm gonna give myself 30 seconds on the clock. And let me go back to the meeting. Let's see. All right, so I'm gonna use my own pitch template and try it out. Oh, wait, it is not letting me do it. Hold on, I'm gonna start the clock and then stop the clock. Okay. Zoom is testing my dexterity here. There I go. Okay. All right, so I'm going to try this out. And again, feel free to download that document while I'm doing it and start thinking of what you'd want to put in the text, and I'll show you how to use the document. So I would say something like, I'm Melanie Fox, and they call me Speech Fox because speech is my niche. I help my clients speak clear and confident English through accent reduction and presentation skills. My client came to me because she was a Japanese woman who had a prominent role in a bank. She went to Toastmasters to practice her public speaking, but they told her, we can't understand you. So she was disheartened. I showed her how to speak and use visuals. She won her local Toastmasters competition and then got a promotion. Speech Fox, accents speak louder than words. I actually left something out. I left out my ask. So I'm going to give myself a C. I'm going to do it again and give you a better idea following the format, how I can make my story briefer and get my ask in. I'm Melanie Fox. They call me Speech Fox because speech is my niche, and I help my clients speak clear and confident English through accent reduction and presentation training. My client works at a Japanese bank but isn't a native English speaker. She joined Toastmasters to help her with her presentation, but they told her they couldn't understand her English. So I helped her out and she won her local competition. I want to meet other people who work for foreign banks because I can help them speak clear, confident English. Speech Fox. Accents speak louder than words. Okay, there I had it and I got my ask in. So I talked about someone who worked at a foreign bank, told you that she wasn't a native speaker and she had trouble speaking in public. So I want to help people like her. So if you heard that she worked at a foreign bank, and foreign in quotes, so in this case, Japanese bank, and I want to meet other folks who work at foreign banks, that was my ask. I helped someone at that type of situation. I asked for someone. A lot of times I give examples of people in sports that have trouble speaking into the mic. And then I ask for people in sports. I talk about how I help medical malpractice defense attorneys with clients who are not native speakers, and they do better in their trials in the courtroom. And then I ask, who do you know that works in medical malpractice defense? So the story and the ask relate. So what I want to do now is show you what this document does. I have 3 pitch versions so that you could type in them. The first says to ask for your ideal client profile. If you remember, in our other 3 sessions, the first one we talked about who's your ideal client. So this is your chance to make an intro that talks about asking a story about your ideal type of client, how you help them, and then asking for that ideal client. Next one, I put ideal power partner. Tell me about your ideal power partner by telling me how you helped one of them or helped their clients, and then ask for that ideal power partner. And third, maybe you say, I'm just going to talk about an upcoming webinar or an ask that I have. I want people to follow my podcast. That could be another type of pitch. It's not as direct for clients, but it could be a good ask. So if you download that document, you can try to write your own pitch in there. So what I want to do is stop the share for a moment and just say, hey, if you guys could download that PDF, let me know if that's worked. And I'm going to go back to my screen share portion and ask, is anybody having trouble downloading that PDF? Oh, and thank you. Thank you for the kudos. And again, I purposely didn't practice my pitch to see what would happen if I wasn't prepped and I just wanted to pull something out of thin air. So is anybody having trouble downloading that document, or is it working for everyone? If you'd put in the chat so I know, Just tell me, is it working, not working? That PDF, I can also drag it back into the chat. No, okay, Bernard said it didn't work. Let me see if I could put that back in the chat. If not, I can just share my screen so you could see the template. I'm putting it back in the chat. Hopefully that PDF is going to everyone. So again, see if that PDF is available for you. If not, again, I'm going to share the template on my screen and you can email me after and ask. Oh, actually, you'll have a way to get the template from a download that I give you at the end. So yes, let's share this on the screen for a moment. What I want to see is anybody brave enough to try out a pitch live and get some feedback? Because I think it would be fun to try this. Now, I just want to give a caveat. If you say, hey, I have a pitch already, I would ask if you try this format. The reason is, if you have a pitch and you're just trying to say it does the template, you're not going to gain anything new. So I ask, even if you have a pitch, try to use this template for your pitch today. So does anyone feel brave enough to do your pitch out loud? And I will gladly give you some feedback from my perspective. Any brave soldiers that want to try it? Well, maybe you're writing. So let me leave you to write in the template. And let's do any of the three, but I'd say better to practice on either the ideal client profile or that ideal power partner, because it's a more specific ask than, hey, go to my podcast page and give me a comment, or go to my LinkedIn page and connect with me. This is a little bit more direct for building your business and revenues. So I'll let you work on it for another minute, but I would love some volunteers. I think it will be fun. Otherwise, you'll just force me to call on Charles. Charles, if you want to volunteer, you might get voluntold shortly, because you are the co-host and the easiest target for me. But anyway, anybody want to volunteer to do your pitch out loud? I will make it bigger in case you can't download that document. All right. Either my internet is dead or you guys are being very quiet at the moment.
I'll try, Melanie. I'm a little nervous, but I'll try.
Yes, this is a cooperative. Okay, as I said before, I'm not here to judge, to be mean. I'm trying to say, hey, is there some way I can help you produce more business from the meetings you go to? So every piece of feedback is out of me trying to help you bring more dollars and more clients into your bucket. And you can always ignore anything I'm saying. It will not hurt my feelings. I just love to share. So Steve, that was Steve, right?
Right.
Okay, Steve, so take it away. I'd love to hear your 30-second pitch, and I'm going to put 30 seconds on the clock if it lets me. So give me 1 second. Let me get that app back with the timer. The timer I'm not good at making people nervous, but the timer is great at it. So let's see what I can do there. Let's see, app, go, hold on. Okay, so I'm going to start and stop and restart the clock. It's going to let me do it. Yes. Okay, hold on 1 second. I'm getting my timer back.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, there we go. No, that's my fault. All right, so when you're ready, I'll start the clock and see if you can hit all of these things within 30 seconds. All right, Steve, take it
All
away.
right, I'm ready.
All right,
Hello,
go.
my name is Steve Nickokiris. I'm a CPA with CBiz. We're the 7th largest firm in the country. We cater to middle market companies. One of the things I'd like to share with you is that I worked with a company that is in the consumer product space. They do business all over the United States, and we help them save a couple $100,000 because their taxes weren't being done correctly in New York City. I would like to meet other companies like that are consumer product companies that have business operations all over the United States. Steve Nickokiris, CBiz.
Hey, I think that was great. And it was perfectly timed. So if I were to be critical, I'd say, well, first, you did a great job of introducing yourself and being effervescent and friendly, like always. If I were to say 2 areas, oh, and you did a good job of giving a success story and asking for somebody related. If I had to be picky, the 2 things I'd say is, I think you assumed I know what CBiz does just because you guys are so big and so famous. but not everybody will know. So I would tell in your detail what CBiz does as a business, or at least what your branch of CBiz does. So what does CBiz do?
We do accounting and consulting work for mid-sized companies.
So I would say that we do accounting and consulting work for mid-sized companies because I think that will reinforce right away what you do. And even though I told you I was at the beach and I saw a giant CBiz banner, I did, and I know you because I've been to your office. If before I met you, I actually did not know what CBiz does because I'm not in finance maybe or haven't used the services. So, and I hope to, but I think it's good to mention that. The other thing I'd say is you told me the solution before the challenge. You said you saved the company money because they were X, Y, and Z. I would say the client or my client was had this issue, right? Or the client had a struggle with this, or the client was paying too much money in taxes, or whatever it was that happened first. So we worked together and saved them. This way, you're not giving the punchline before the joke, or the spoiler alert before you said what the problem is. Because if you told me the problem you solved before what the problem was, I kind of check out a little early. So can we do that one more time where you give your line of detail about CBiz and you tell me the challenge that client had before the solution? Would you be willing to do one more?
Sure.
Okay, this is great. This is great. So let's try one more time. It was already like an A-, so now I'm
No,
looking
but
for
I'll try to do a little bit better, but thank you.
Okay, but it was great. And again, I'm giving you the 30-second, not the 60. So this is the hardcore version. All right, so one more time, I'm going to take these check marks away. I'm going to check them as we go, and hopefully in order this time. And then we'll look for other variations. All right, so take it away, Steve.
Okay, hello. My name is Steve Nicokiris. I'm a CPA with CBiz. We're an accounting and consulting firm. We do tax and accounting work for mid-sized companies. I'd like to just share just a story. We had a client that was very profitable. They were doing business in New York City and some other locations. We actually were concerned that they were maybe paying too much tax in New York City, and in fact they were. After looking at the details, we were able to work with them and actually reduce their New York City tax liability by several $100,000. I would like to meet people like that.
It's okay, keep going.
We'd like to meet, similar companies that are consumer product companies that are profitable, that are doing business throughout the United States, and we think we would be great people for them to speak to. So thank you.
And your ending, Steve Nicokiros?
Steve Nicokiris, CPA with CBiz.
Excellent, excellent. So you went a little long that time, but it was a stronger commercial. So what I'd say is just practice with a timer and tighten it up a little bit. If you have 60 seconds, that would have absolutely fit. And sometimes the networking meetings do 60 seconds. So in 60 seconds, you would be golden. In 30 seconds, you'd probably have to take away the part where you spoke about them first before you said we were concerned that they were paying. You could just say they were paying too much in taxes or something like that, or they were upset about how much taxes they were paying and we found a way to reduce that or something. So if you just tighten it up a little, that would have been perfect. I love that you provided the detail up here about CBiz, and that was here in the detail. And I love that you said the challenge before the solution. So I thought that was really strong, and I think everybody should give Steve Nicokiris a round of applause. Yay, Steve. That was really good, and you were a brave soldier for going first. But I think that was a great pitch, and I will remember who you want to meet. And I didn't know that prior to this meeting, exactly who you were looking to meet. So thank you, and I'm glad you got to go twice to reinforce to everyone who Steve wants to meet, and please do make those introductions for him. And Steve, if you want to put it in the chat, since you gave us your time, I'd like everybody to also be reinforced of who Steve would like to meet. So please do add that to the chat. Does anybody else want to try their 30 seconds with some feedback? You can see I don't bite.
The one thing I would say, Melanie, hopefully someone does, but what I like what you told me was that you don't need to, your success story is going to be different. Like you gave 3 different examples. I was always trying to put it all in one, but I like the idea. It's just going to be different. It's not, you can't get everything. You'll go for something, pick something and use that. And you could use that, you can meet 3 people and give 3 different success stories. I just didn't think that. That's a great suggestion.
Exactly. Okay, first, thank you so much for calling that out. And I'll say, when I first started networking, I was like, well, I could help all these different types of people. So I'd almost try to speed up and cram like 5 different asks into one commercial. And it's almost like if you ask for too many things, you'll get none of them. So if you have so I'm a speech coach. If somebody says, I'm looking for a speech coach, do you know any? People, whether I ask for it in my commercial or not, people are going that know me and like me are going to be like, oh, I know a speech coach. They're not going to be like, oh, in her last commercial, she asked for people who work at banks. You don't work in a bank, therefore I'm not going to introduce you. That's not going to happen, right? You're just saying, or you could even say, if it makes you feel better, a great referral for me would be, or today I'm looking to meet, right? So a great referral, or today I'm looking to meet, or something. It just gives the idea that right now your ask is X. That doesn't mean those are the only people in the world you can help. Okay, so I think Sayali raised her hand and then took it down. Is that
Yes,
right?
yes.
Would you like
I
to
can
do
try.
a 30-second as well?
Yes, sure, I can do
Okay,
it.
let's have you do this. All right, so I'm starting the clock now.
Hi, this is Saili from Aprilai. We do custom software solutions. As a services provider company, we do web and mobile applications, third-party integrations, and a lot more. As a part of our success story that we work with one of our clients is we help them to reduce their response time from 15 to 20 minutes to 3 minutes using robotic process automations. And that helped the client to increase their sales by almost 20 to 30%. In the first quarter. So I would be like to meet industries who are looking for digital transformation and technology solutions and assistance. Thank you so much. Again, Saili from Aprilai.
Excellent, excellent. And I apologize. I remember your name is Siley, that rhymes with Smiley. So sorry that
Yes.
I changed your name a little bit. So thank you, Siley, for understanding and accepting my accidental modification of your name. I will get it right the next time. So everybody, Siley rhymes with Smiley. Okay, so I thought it started really strong. Yes, it went a little long. You can, hone it to practice for the 30. As with Steve, I think for 60, that would have fit easily. For 30, we may need to pare it down. You started strong with your name and also what you do. Where I lost you a little is also, I feel like you gave the solution, you helped them to do X, but I didn't really hear the problem. So was it that they didn't have enough time, or they spent too much labor on doing something, and you introduced the robotics or the AI. So I'd say focus on what the problem was first, so I could relate to maybe hearing somebody else mention that problem, and then what you did to solve it. But you did a good job on the solution. I'd say the client's problem was what I missed. I didn't hear the pain point. What I heard was what you did to help. And I believe I heard the result. What I would recommend is maybe mention something also more specific about the client, like what industry were they in, or what specifically made them a good client for you. So was it a client in the legal space did X, or our client who was a public library, whatever it is that client was. I'd love to hear just the quickest name, so it feels like one real client and not just like we help clients in general do X. So I'd love to hone in a little bit more on who that client was and what their problem was. Then you solved it. Then the result was there. And then who you'd like to meet, I would just say, if you said, I want to meet clients who want, I still don't know who wants that, right? I know on their LinkedIn profile what they do, but nowhere on their LinkedIn profile does it say what they want. So if we can do that one more time just to try it out, some tweaks, I would just be a little bit more succinct in the beginning. Say, client, describe their profile super briefly, their problem before the solution and the result, and then ask to meet that type of client, whoever it was. Client A was a what, and introduce me to that same type of person. So would you care to do one more?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, let's do
That
one
that
more.
was a great feedback. Thanks for
Oh, thank you, thank you. Yes, and if I had to say the biggest piece was, don't tell me what they want. Tell me who they are, as if I were going to sit there on my LinkedIn and type something to try to find you who I know. that would fit that profile. All right, so one more time,
Okay.
take it away, Siley.
Sure. Hello, this is Siley from Aprileye. We provide custom software solutions. Majorly as a core service, we provide web and mobile application services, third-party integrations, a lot of automations, machine learning, and AI. One of our clients in car automobile industry, they were struggling with spending time on order processing. That's where we deployed the bots, and that robotic process automation solution bring down their response time from 20 minutes to 3 minutes, increasing their sales, seeing great ROI. I would like to meet businesses who are looking such technological challenges or would like to leverage the technology to increase their sales, automate their operations, and see what effect of technology can make change to their company. Thank you, Siley from Aprileye.
Excellent. So if I, again, just to say, since you ran over, I think the place that it ran over, everything was working for you here, 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 here. So name, we provide, the client story was really clear. You mentioned, I believe, automotive. So I would recommend, instead of I'd like to meet companies that want to increase their something, I'd love to meet automotive companies. I could help them increase blah, blah, blah. So I would just put a stake in the ground and pick something factual about the clients you'd like to meet rather than what they want. If you hear someone say, my sales are down or something like that, that could be, I would only be able to listen for it. I can't look it up. They're not going to put on LinkedIn, my sales are down, help. They're not going to tell us that. But yeah, that would be the only thing is the ask. I would figure out what's a good ask for your next meeting and go with that. Alrighty, so what I'm going to do now is go back to my deck for, at the risk of having no power and no point. I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint and I'm going to just share some variations and the way that you can get some info for free. Oops, sorry, it has readjusted my deck. All right, here I go. Here is where we were. So this was that pitch template, which again, you've downloaded by now, hopefully. And so, some notes. If you get really good at that and you're like, I want to switch it up, I don't always want to start by saying my name. Well, here are some other things you can do. You can try leading with an intriguing or surprising fact. Did you know that 25% of Americans throw up before they do public speaking? That's not true, but I'm sure there's a fact about how many people have a fear of public speaking. So, you could find a fun fact and stick it there. You could ask a thought-provoking question. How many of you have ever wanted to run away when you were about to give your networking pitch? Or something that's more interesting than that, but you could start with a question. Maybe a funny saying that relates to something that you're about to say. Or maybe even a myth buster. Whatever it is, you can start with that and then say, hi, I'm blah, 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 and I do X, Y, and Z. So that's a cool way to switch it up. And yes, my twist is to try it out even before your name. You could put it anywhere you like, but I wouldn't do this unless you can get your 30 seconds without sacrificing your ask. I just was speaking with someone today, brilliant woman, who was saying, well, I don't need to have an ask today because everybody in the room knows me. And I said, I beg to differ. In my humble opinion, I've been networking in the same BNI group 11 years, and I still get introduced as a speech pathologist, which I am not, an interpreter, which I am not, or a translator, which I am not, an SLP, which is back to speech pathology, or they'll call me speech therapist. And a lot of times I get introduced to people I've never asked for, and the B2B leads that I'm looking for, I don't typically find them in that particular group. I find them elsewhere. So all I'm saying is, I know some people a long time, and repeating that ask is what eventually gets me those referrals, not assuming that everybody remembers who I want to meet, because there's a lot of people in the room, a lot of things distracting people during meetings. Never, even if you're presenting that same day with a longer presentation, don't give up the opportunity to put an ask in your pitch. You're wasting your own time and money by leaving that out. So always have an ask. All right, so what can be the ask? As I mentioned in that template, your ideal client profile, your ideal power partner. These were the previous 2 sessions, right? This is not ironic. I purposely did a training before on how to find your ideal client profile and how to find your ideal power partner. And so those are 2 good asks. And you could ask for I put an and a call to action. So those are 3 good things to ask for at the end. And we did your turn to pop that pitch already. I will say you are invited. I attend many, many Zoom meetings, and I even run one next Monday. I run a B2B referrals community. It's part of the Connective, and my chapter is called NYC Global. And if you are interested in attending that meeting and asking for some B2B referrals, please email or text me. I'll also put my phone number in the chat. This is my mobile and my WhatsApp. So feel free to text me here if you'd like to come to that meeting on Monday at noon. That's next Monday, noon Eastern. We start a little early for some schmoozing, and you could practice your pitch there. And if you want 30 minutes of my feedback, I will trade this. I will give this feedback session to you privately for free. But if you like what you hear, I would love a testimonial that I could use on LinkedIn or my website. So I will give you 30 minutes of feedback. And if and only if you like it, I would love a testimonial. Another place that you could give me a testimonial, should you want to help me out, if you've enjoyed this, hopefully you can scan this code, and I'll give you 2 things. One is this PowerPoint deck with the tips for great PowerPoint presentations as the bonus materials, and the link to that 30-minute free session of feedback. So please, please, please scan this link, scan this code, I guess, and I'm going to also paste the link to that in case you can't scan the code. I'm going to give you the way to get that by clicking instead of scanning in case the QR code didn't work. Here it is, the URL and the code are in the chat. So you would click the link, which is the talk/SpeechFox thing, and then it's going to ask you for a code, and you put GC like Global Chamber, NYC like New York City, OCT like October. So if you can't scan the code on the screen, please use that link and type in that code. You will get this PowerPoint deck, which includes the bonus materials of good to-dos and not to-dos in PowerPoint, and also the link to do a free 30-second private feedback session, hopefully in exchange, if you like it, for a testimonial. If you don't like it, please don't give me a testimonial. That would be an anti-testimonial, and those are not good for my business. So hopefully you will have enjoyed this or your session. And I will leave some time for Q&A or for Charles. And so Charles, let me give it back to you to moderate or to announce anything else that needs to happen before we wrap.
Thank you, Melanie, and thanks for your great timekeeping as always. You just really nailed it. So I went on your
OCD rules, sorry.
What's that?
I said OCD rules.
OCD rules, yeah, works for everybody. I know we're all busy. Thank you. Stacee, I'm going to put you a little bit on the spot and just say, is there anything you want to say to transition to moderating and facilitating? Anything you want to give us as a heads up or ideas for us to think about? The floor is yours.
Okay. Thanks for the warning, Charles. I could have come up with something coherent in 30 seconds. I would love to know in the chat if you think of it, or you can email me. I'll put my email in here. I am a leadership, human skills, soft skills trainer. I do the things that Melanie does. I cut my teeth on presentation skills and pitching and all of that, but where we diverge is leadership and EQ and other stuff. So I would love to know what you would like me to talk about. What do you want to learn? If I said you can solve any human skills problem, what would that be? Including presentation skills. Melanie didn't do executive presence. She didn't do structuring a content of a presentation. I could help you with your global chamber talks if you like, making sure those are tight. Yeah, so I'm putting my email in, and I'd love your thoughts. Learn about EQ. Oh, okay, EQ.
I
All
put
right,
something
Melanie.
in the chat. Can we chat it to you right now too?
Yeah.
Okay,
Please
great.
chat it to me now. And if you can't think of anything, but you wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and go, oh my God, here's my email. So you can email me and just put in the subject global chamber, so I know who you are, because some of you I may have never met in person. Yeah, and that's it. So emotional intelligence. Good. How to assess your EQ. I'm taking notes. EQ. Yep. Everyone's stumped. Because if I don't hear from you, I'm just going to do executive presence and doing your global chamber presentations. That's going to be my default if I don't hear. So.
And Stacey, my note was I love that you mentioned EQ, and I hear the term a lot, but I never really know the true definition, and also like how do you measure it. So I think somebody gave it a thumbs up in the chat. Oh, Stephanie did. I would say that's like I would love to know more on that topic, but I don't know if that's popular. So that would be something that I feel like it would be a new area for me to learn about that I think is something that I would love to know more about.
Fantastic. I can definitely do that. And I'm rewriting my email. My nails are really long right now and I can't type. I know, first world problems. Mandeville method. There it is. Okay, the second one is my email. Just in brief, for those of you who don't know, if you would like me to talk about EQ, EQ is emotional intelligence or emotional quotient. And a standard definition is being able to recognize and understand and label and manage your own emotions and those of others. Being able to respect the fact that emotions are there and they're there in business. I heard a speaker once, a good speaker, she said, empathy has no place in the workplace. And I went, I didn't say anything, but it's a way to build team. It's a way to manage stress. Anybody here not stressed out? Anybody raise your hand if you are not stressed out right now? Anybody? No. Okay. So yeah, so that's emotional intelligence is stress management, managing people, managing yourself, managing your obnoxious teenagers, managing your spouse. It's good stuff. So
Thank you.
yeah.
All right, 1 minute left. So mark your calendars. October 30th is our in-person at CBiz, and you can find all this on the website events. October 28th is at 4 p.m. So that's at the same location, but it's at 4 p.m. On October 28th with Ayman Alawadi, those people interested in doing business with Saudi Arabia and vice versa. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a
And
wonderful...
so I have one more thing to add. So we are also looking for one more speaker for the meeting on the 30th for the in-person meeting. So we have already two company speakers or speakers who present their company confirmed, but we have room for one more. So if anyone wants to present their company, this is your chance.
How do we get in touch with, should we email you, Stephanie?
Yeah, so me or Susan, yeah.
Could you put your email in the chat real quick?
Mm-hmm.
And guys, just in case, last time I had a few people say when you put up your QR code, I didn't get a chance to scan it. So if you're wondering why I put it back, I remembered last time. So in case anybody needs the materials, that's what's back on the screen.
Great. So if anyone wants to present and is a member, please let Stephanie know. Stephanie's put her email in the chat. Great, guys. I want to respect everybody's time. Thank you. Stay dry, stay safe. See you soon.
Great job.
Bye.
We
Great
love
job,
it.
everybody. Great
Thank
job,
you,
Melanie.
Steve,
Bye.
and looking forward
Bye,
to
everyone.
Stacey. And
Bye.
I don't think I can make the 30th meeting, so I will be having FOMO, but tell me all about it.
Bye.
Bye, guys.